tasks. I suppose that makes sense, yeah. Nodonor says, also, I'd like your take on this video. No more native games? Is Valve canceling native games? Actually, I was just reading that article from the Linux Gamer of the history of Valve and Linux. And I saw in the comments some people were discussing this. I haven't seen the video, so I'll just take my hot take on the topic, and then we can talk about the video some other day when I watched it. I'll watch this afternoon, yeah. I need to have... Has he changed YouTube name? This is one dude I've forgotten to put on my list. But my hot take on this thing is short-sightedly, maybe a little bit. Long term, I don't think so. I think long term, I would say like Gabe Newell, Linux is the future. Yeah, Linux is the future. So, I don't think so. I think that it's gonna be a while. It's gonna be a long while. But I think the trend will be to move, right? There will be more Vulkan. There will be more stuff making sure that it works through Proton, right? And right, people will make games for the Steam Deck and whatnot. And people will probably take the Steam Deck and design games for the Steam Deck. And a lot of people will, like, a lot of people doing game developments are used to making it for Windows. But the long term, I think long term, Windows is going out the door, right? At a long enough stretch, because the open source philosophy and how to build software and operating systems open source, it's just superior, I think, for all the users. That's my bias, right? My bias showing through, but I think it's definitely superior. So it's gonna take a long time, but this is the trend that I am seeing. Nodonor says he did change his name, right? It's still his name, right? Gardner Bryant. I remember seeing that. But he was also like the Linux Gamer, I think, before. Something like that. But I'll watch the video and give another hot take, I suppose. Alright. That was a sidetrack. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, the stuff that is changing the most today is AI and machine learning, yeah. Nodonor says, also, doesn't Proton encourage us to stay reliant on Microsoft technology like DirectX? I disagree. Doesn't it work, right? Can't you run Proton with Vulkan? Actually, that's an interesting question. Proton encourage us to stay reliant on DirectX. I've seen a lot of hype around Vulkan, so I don't know. That feels like a back-end thing, right? I think Proton is not that super relevant in the shift between Vulkan and DirectX. And I think people, developers, right, if they know DirectX, they will be happy to stay with DirectX and working with that for a while. It's like, I've been talking about with this article a lot, right? There is a threshold, right? if Vulkan becomes better and better and better and better, then sooner or later people will start jumping ship. I think that is just how it works. I don't think... But it has to be a significant difference, right? Or a philosophical, like people philosophically thinking that open source is better and they like Vulkan better. It becomes hyped and it's just a social move. Nordon says Proton translate DirectX to Vulkan. Yeah, DXVK, right? I think this is a... think like the move to Wayland, for example. There is a X Wayland, right? That makes sure that you can run X stuff in Wayland. And I think that's necessary, because it's like a big shift. It's kind of a big shift, right? Going from one to the other, it's gonna take a lot of time. So having an intermediary thing, I would say it's more... I would see that as a symptom of the change that is happening. Right? I would say that Proton does not encourage DirectX. Proton is a symptom of people leaving DirectX for Vulkan, right? Proton popularity and whatnot. That makes sense? I don't know if it does. Nordon says it works well right now, but what happens when DirectX 13 comes out and the games no longer work? This happened in the past with Wine. You can play games with newer DirectX. We've only just caught up. Yeah. We've just caught up. But since we've caught up, right, that will happen, right? DirectX will come out and then there will be start coming out games, right? When DirectX 13 is a thing, it's gonna take a while before DirectX 13 games to be a thing. And since we're kind of caught up, Wine can and DXVK and all those type of things, they can start preemptively work and prepare. Just like when the games starts working with it, so can Wine, I think. And hopefully, my hope, this is a hope, that's not a prediction, but my hope is that the Steam Deck is gonna lead more developers towards Vulkan. Right? There is already a Switch, right? I think Warframe is working on it. Path of Exile is switching to Vulkan. I mean, that's a big deal. And other games are making that switch as well. So I think that is happening, but I'm just out in the periphery. I haven't looked into this at all. That is just the feeling I got from what I've seen. Nordon says, I think DirectX is Microsoft's way of entrenching themselves in the gaming industry. Hence why they came out with the Xbox. The Direct Xbox? Oh, right, yeah. Sure, yeah. I think also that that's one of their fingers in the pie, or whatever it's called. One way of doing it. But I think that they have competition, right? Like you said, the open source community is catching up in general, right? And Valve, it kind of seems like Valve, Gabe himself has decided that Linux is the future of gaming. He did not want to be dependent on Windows anymore. And it kind of seems like that is where we're going. especially if people love the Steam Deck when it comes out. I heard that it was sold out already, right? It's coming in December and it's already sold out. If people love it... Yeah, so that's why I'm thinking, right? Short term, sure. Less native stuff will happen, maybe. Actually, it depends on the engines as well. A lot of engines have the possibility of giving Linux native versions, right? Since they have that, game developers, like let's say Levelhead, for example, they're definitely gonna make a Linux port when the Steam Deck comes out, right? I think you were talking about that. The Game Maker has a Linux version, right? So it's probably not that difficult for them. It's just maintenance. They don't want to maintain it. But when the Steam Deck comes out, it is worthwhile to maintain it. Nodon says, fucking scalpers. I added one of those words, yeah. Nodon says, if you pre-order now, they claim you can get it after the second quarter of 2022. Alright. I have other stuff that I need to purchase first, but I do want one. I guess I'll wait to buy one until you can actually buy one and not have to pre-order. No, says Game Maker doesn't have a Linux editor, it has a Linux export. Yes, sorry, I was talking about exports. Yeah, that the game engines, a lot of the popular ones has Linux exports. That, my mistake. That is what I was meaning to say, yes. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a great time for Linux gaming. And that, yes, Proton will be the main focus for a while to come. But not long term, I don't believe. Nodon says the problem isn't with Game Maker. Game Maker games generally works well with Wine. Rather, Levelhead has created some custom networking plugin that is busted in Proton. Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, I just saw Levelhead right here, so I was thinking, right? They don't have a Linux export, right? They don't have a Linux version, native Linux. But I can imagine that they will have, because that is probably a game that is, it's gonna fit, just like Mario Maker, right? That fits the Switch. It's a good game for the console, just like Levelhead will fit the Steam Deck like a glove. And that bothers me, right? They did say, right? They've said we come to all the platforms except for one platform, right? They've said, all right, we'll release the game to all the platforms except for one of them. But that is gonna change, right? Because they're not gonna release a Linux version, they're gonna release a Steam Deck version, which will be a Linux version. A Linux export, yeah. That's my prediction anyway. Nodon says, I don't think they'll have a Linux export. They are more likely to rewrite the line of code that crashes Proton. Yeah, short term. Oh, well, it depends, right? If the game keeps generating income and they don't abandon it, if they keep working on it, then making it work for, I suppose, short term, maybe. Maybe it will just work on Proton. Actually, that's another interesting question about this point. Do we need native games? I assume nativeness is... Right, if you want to squeeze performance out of your games, then native games are more performant. But as like practical in life, in the next 20 years, do I need a single native Linux game to be a happy Linux gamer? Does Linux need native games to grow in market share and whatnot? It doesn't, does it? Right? What do I care about as a gamer? I care about my game working. Note says, Proton is pretty fast though. In some circumstances it's faster than native. Right? That's very interesting. So, in my opinion, it is an interesting point to discuss, right? And it's like from a purist argument, I would want to see more Linux native games, of course, but that's just from a purist perspective, and I tend not to be. I tend to be more pragmatic. I want to see Linux grow. That's my opinion. I want open source software to grow and be a more widespread idea. And I think Proton is a great thing for that. What do you call that? The net total of Linux games will increase. And that's, I think, the more important question from my opinion, my perspective, yeah. Nodono says, I think it is because there is some slowdown caused by a code path that is running in Proton bypasses. Oh, Proton bypass a slowdown by a code path? That is possibly true, yeah. Nodono says, from a suckless perspective, we need the games to be simple, and having this whole Proton layer is needlessly increasing complexity. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Suckless, that's kind of a purist philosophy, isn't it? Yeah. Curious. Actually, what is this? What is this? Yeah. Suckless philosophy. Forget. Philosophy. Alright. My face is a little bit in the way, so I'm gonna head that way. Whoop! Right. We are the home of quality software such as DWM, DMenu, ST, and plenty of other tools, with a focus on simplicity, clarity, and frugality. Yeah, keep it pure, right? Our philosophy is about keeping things simple, minimal, and usable. We believe this should become the mainstream philosophy in the IT sector. Unfortunately, the tendency for complex, error-prone, and slow software seems to be prevalent in the present-day software industry. We intend to prove the opposite with our software projects. There we go. It's about kind of being pure, right? Well, not necessarily. It's simplicity, not purity. But purity, it's like... Purity is a vague fucking word, isn't it? It's all that trash by the side. Qualitative state of being pure. Nice. Nice. Unmixed with other matter. We just want the code to just do the thing that it wants. Maybe. Yeah. Node says, being thus and no other. Oh, what is that a quote from? Being thus and no other. It kind of sounds a little bit like the Unix philosophy, right? Oh, it's a Bible quote. Nice. Wait, no. Maybe not. Yeah, here we go. Evangelium Vitae. John Paul. Wait. That was the definition on the pure page. Oh! Wow. I was blind. But now I see. There we go. Being thus and no other. Sheer, unmitigated. Like pure folly. Do one thing and do it well. Don't do the other things. Just do the one thing and do it well. This sounds a little bit like Sonic the Hedgehog song. Right. Nodeowner says that Suckless seems pure to me. They don't talk about accepting bloat in any circumstance, do they? They do not, no. You do not want that bloat. Want to finish reading the full... where is it? You can read the full thing. Suckless philosophy. You can read the whole thing. Yeah. Oops. Alright, our project focuses on advanced and experienced computer users. In contrast with the usual proprietary software world or many mainstream open source projects that focus more on average and non-technical end users, we think that experienced users are mostly ignored. This is particularly true for user interfaces such as graphical environments on desktop computers, on mobile devices, and in so-called web applications. We believe that the market of experienced users is growing continuously, with each user looking for more appropriate solutions for his/her work style. That's actually relevant to the article we're reading right now. More and more programmers. That is what they're all saying. That is the future. More and more programmers. Not only this, but look at their actual projects. There's evidence that they do accept bloat. DWM relies on bloated X11. Surf relies on bloated WebKit. Yeah. But they have to, right? Everybody has to rely on something, right? If it wasn't this or that, you could say, well, they are relying on bloated the bloated C compilers. It's kind of a stretch, I know, but you get my point, right? You can, as long as it depends on something else. But their work, what they are doing is... But it was interesting, though. They flat out said that they have no interest in doing a Wayland window manager, or make DWM, right? DWM is an X window manager, and that is what it is. They did not want to make it being able to work for Wayland, and I'm pretty sure they said that we have no interest in actually creating a new one either. But there was another one that did the thing, I think. Node says they don't rely on bloated C compilers, they suggest using Musel libc. Oh, nice. And they don't release compiled code anyways, just the source. Yeah, alright, good point, good point. So, what is the alternative? Should they just make their own from scratch? Not do, right? Not do like DWM, it should be built on its own thing. And I haven't even tried the browser. Right, designing. That's interesting. That's an operative word here, I think. Designing simple and elegant software is far more difficult than letting ad hoc or overambitious features obscure the code over time. However, one has to pay the price to achieve the reliability and maintainability. Furthermore, minimalism results in reasonable and attainable goals. We strive to maintain minimalism and clarity to drive development to completion. Right. One could say that they depend on... Well, actually, no, they don't. I was gonna say that they depend on bloated Linux, but you could just say, well, they can... This works on the other one as well. BSD. Oh. Node says the problem with window managers for Wayland is because Wayland is more lightweight than X11. The window manager needs to take over some of the duties that X11 used to take care of. Did X11 take care of them, or was there X11 apps that took care of it, right? X11 extra X11 stuff? So if they made DWM for Wayland, it would increase the lines of code a lot. All right, yeah. Good point. Not under 2000. Node says X11 took care of it. Oh, there we go. Alright, manifest. Alright, your favorite type of texting. Right, many open source hackers are proud if they achieve large amounts of code because they believe the more lines of code they've written, the more progress they have made. The more progress they have made, the more skilled they are. This is simply a delusion. Well, yes and no. Right. It is not necessarily true either way, but it is implied the more code you write, the more experienced you are. Right? So it's... calling it a delusion is it's a stretch. But they do have a point, yeah. Most hackers actually don't care much about code quality. Thus, if they get something working which seems to solve a problem, they stick with it. Yeah, that's the programmer. That's the type of programmer I would be. Yeah. Oh, it works. Done. Isn't that typical of a hacker? If this kind of software development is applied to the same source code throughout its entire lifecycle, we're left with a large amounts of code, a totally screwed code structure, and flawed system design. Yep. That's definitely how all the stuff I do looks like. Yeah, it's terrible. It sucks more. Yeah. This is because of a lack of conceptual clarity and integrity in the development process.
What do you mean, armed? Armed with what? Bad breath, colourful language, feather duster. What do you think?
Right. Code complexity is the mother of bloated, hard to use, and totally inconsistent software. With complex code, problems are solved in suboptimal ways. Yep. Valuable resources are endlessly tied up. Yep. Performance slows to a halt, and vulnerabilities become commonplace. The only solution is to scrap the entire project and rewrite it from scratch. I get that. Nodrunner says, this is the Exapunks way of hacking, where you need to optimize for lines of code and cycles used. Yes, exactly. Right. I guess something that a suckless philosopher would say is that all the programmers have been spoiled. They have been spoiled. Spoiled and can just do whatever. Right? And languages like Python is the epitomology of that, right? It's the you're just spoiled. You're just hacking shit together and it just works, and oh man. You don't have to think about the resources that you are using at all. Right? It's layers of abstraction, right? Higher level thinking. Right. The bad news. Quality rewrites rarely happen. Because hackers are proud of a large amounts of code. Oh. Right. I forget. I just completely forgot about the use the word proud. That was an operative word that I completely missed in my hot takes. Nodrunner says, back in my day, I used to have to write my code in assembly while walking uphill both ways. Exactly. Right, they think they understand the complexity in the code, thus there is no need to rewrite it. They think of themselves as masterminds, understanding what others can never hope to grasp. To these types, complex software is the ideal. This just sounds like a straw man. Right. They think themselves as masterminds, understanding what others can never hope to grasp. Isn't this exactly what this text is doing? We are the masterminds. And you can never hope to grasp what we are doing. Isn't that right? As soon as you talk about what they think, you're on thin ice, in my opinion, yeah. As long as you start doing that, they think, and then you say something negative about those people, I'm not so sure. They are not really here to defend themselves, are they? I can imagine that these people exist. I can imagine that there are that type of programmer. No doubt about it. But I'm not so sure that that's all the programmers. I don't know. I think it's rude. I find it off-putting, that type of language, yeah. Indigenous ideas are simple. Ingenious. Sorry. Ingenious ideas are simple. Ingenious software is simple. Simplicity is the heart of the Unix philosophy. The more code lines you have removed, the more progress you have made. As the number of lines of code in your software shrinks, the more skilled you have become and the less your software sucks. I mean, I kind of agree with this. That makes a lot of sense to me, right? The more code you have, the more points of failure you have created, right? With higher complexity becomes higher, like, more stuff can go wrong. One last point on the suckless dudes, right? No one has ever accused software programmers, like hardcore software programmers, to be having high social skill or being friendly and unrude. Yeah. Right. Murphy's Law is an adage or epigram that is typically stated that anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Yeah. Right. And the more complexity you have, more things can go wrong. The more things will go wrong. There we go. Alright. I completely left this behind. And we're getting closer to lunchtime, so I guess I'll continue from this point tomorrow. Not on eat spicy hot nudes. Oh, nice. I'm gonna eat muesli and some eggs. Man, I need to go shopping today. I don't have any food. Well, I've got a little bit of food, but not for a complete meal, I guess. Note Honor says, I am the ultimate distractor. Nice. Oh, but I've been into this, right? I was reading about this. I'm super excited about the Steam Deck and the future of Linux gaming. I'm super excited and hopeful. Because I think there is a strong correlation between Linux gaming and the proliferation of open source philosophy and open source programming. I think that correlation is super strong. And I do want to see more open source stuff. I do want to see copyright getting thrown out the window, thrown out the door, left in the past. Improvements to it, right? I don't want to get rid of it. Like, the ideas behind it are not dumb ideas, right? Credit where credit is due and all that. People getting paid for their work. I mean, the basic ideas are not dumb, it's just the implementation is terrible. And I would want to see the open source improvements. Note Honor says, even if I don't buy the device, it will still improve my gaming experience. That's something we can all be excited for. Yes, exactly. For me, I mean, maybe in 2 years? Maybe in 2 years I will buy one. One can hope. But if the last... I don't know, if the last... Well, all of my previous life is anything to go by, I won't really afford it. It's not very expensive, so maybe. But yeah. All that money. All that money. Are there more stuff like this? With MC? Probably some more stuff. I can imagine this is... Look at this. I love this picture. This looks very... Eve. Node owner says, just buy it with your UBI. Oh man. That's way too high on the list. Like, that's... Even if we implement UBI, right? Someone buying gaming, that type of gaming device that is purely for gaming with their UBI, I think that's after I have died, and I think even the next generation, right? That's probably even after my niece has died. Having that amount of money in the UBI? Maybe not, though. It is difficult to predict the future. Nodder says, FitMC is a good channel. This is his magnum opus of videos. Nice. Nice. Nodder says, I upgraded my PC with my coronavirus checks. Oh, I didn't get any coronavirus checks. I got a vaccine, though. What I got. Yeah, yeah, I think I will oh wow, now that actually makes me think. I've been considering buying a laptop, a new laptop. I don't have the money for it yet, but like in a year or two, maybe instead of buying a laptop, oh man, I'm tired, aren't I? That's this thing. I want to see the sides. Right. I mean, these are the least interesting sides of the thing. I want to see the... It has a HDMI output, right? I don't remember that. Where are all the good pictures? That's like a USB thing. Nodder says you can watch the Linux Gamer video on the stream. The license permits it. Oh, that's a good point. Oh. If you wanna do hot takes on it tomorrow, we can watch the video, and of course, just like, I mean, I don't have a license for my stuff, but right, anything I do, anyone can, I don't know, Creative Commons, whatever. Anyone can do whatever the fuck they want with anything I do. And that makes a lot of sense that Gardner Bryant would do the same. I didn't even think about that. We can watch it and pause it after every single word, and I can give my comments on the word that was used. Ah, I like that. It has a dock. Yeah, exactly. It has a dock. Exactly. I mean, I could do this instead of a laptop, right? Because what I want is a media player, and this is running Arch Linux, and these things, they're just touchpads, right? Like for the mouse, you can move the mouse around. So you could run Firefox or just download MPV and have YouTube CC on this machine, right? Oh wow, controlling a terminal with this thing would be annoying. But that's fine, I could just take a keyboard, right? You could just have a keyboard for it. And you could have it as a media player and a on-the-go gaming machine and a media playing machine on the go. Man, This thing's great. Another says the dock isn't ready yet. Ah, they haven't said when it would be, but they said that you could just buy any dock off the shelf and it should be compatible. Yeah. And just connecting this to a TV makes a lot of sense. Right? Getting Firefox on this thing makes a lot of sense as well, right? For playing Netflix and whatnot. And this is not a lot of money. This is not a lot of money. This is pretty much what I would pay for a laptop. What is this? What do we get with this? It's bigger SSD, yeah. 512 gigabytes. That sounds like good stuff, yeah. Fastest storage. What does that mean? Oh, all right. It is the SSD. Get it. Anti-glare, etched glass, premium stuff. No, I was thinking you can plug it in the dock at your desk and use it like your main PC, right? But that's the thing, right? I want 2 main PCs. That is the life I want to live. I want my stationary thing here with all the screens, like I've got 1 screen over there, 1 screen over here, and 1 screen way over there now. 3 screens. And I think that's enough. I think I'm happy with 3, but... And I want a more beefier, because you can buy a beefier stationary thing, right? PC. But then I also want a carry-around computer, which is... This would be a great carry-around computer. Right? It's like a laptop, just better in every way. No, don't says the price point is insane, yeah. No, don't says I just pre-ordered the 64 gigabytes. You can put your own NVMe SSD in it. Right. I would probably buy this one though. I mean, we've got the anti-glare stuff and the exclusive carry case. Oh wow, an exclusive carry case. Gotta have that. And a profile bundle. I don't know what that is. Exclusive virtual keyboard theme. Oh man, gotta have that. Right? So important. No, says it's almost no different. Oh, you mean the whole thing? Yeah, it's only these things that are different, right? And what's that? That's more than 200 euros for that? Yeah, you've got a good point. Maybe better just buying this one. Better off. Yeah, it's just storage, right? The graphics card is no different. The CPU is no different. It's just storage. And the anti-glare thing. And the carry case. Well, no, there is a carry case here as well. No, says like my 2 terabyte NVMe SSD was $200 US. Oh wow, that's... Yeah, you're only getting 512. Or... This is probably more than $200. Euros and dollars are fairly on equal footing oftentimes, I think. So, all right. And what you were doing you pre-order the thing, right? And of course you don't have to buy it until it gets here. So maybe pre-ordering is a good idea. Just because you can cancel your pre-order at any time, right? Not says, but it's not exactly comparable. You have to buy a certain form factor of NVMEs. Yeah, but like, you can probably get one for 1 terabyte, right? 1 terabyte for the same price. And also, it's only 5 USD. What is 5 USD? Pre-order reserve. Yeah, that's like a cup of coffee, 2 cups of coffee. I don't drink coffee, so I might as well. Right, there's benefits. Actually, I could probably just live with this, couldn't I? My internet is great. Well, actually, aren't there games that are bigger than 64 gigabytes, though? I'm pretty sure that's the case, isn't it? There are games that are 80 gigs and whatnot. So you can buy this one, but you pretty much have... Well, I was just thinking if I could live with 64 gigs. I mean, I probably could, but I don't have to get those games, but I'm just thinking 64 would be not enough for me personally. You can put in an SD card. All right. Right. You don't have to have SSDs. I don't have to have an SSD. Like at all. Oh man, I'm just excited. I'm just excited. I need to go and have lunch. Yeah, I need to leave this shit behind. Not says, yeah, there's a lot of options for storage. It's looking great. I want it. I want it. Not says, I mean, you could also just stream those games from your main PC. Yeah, right. That's a good point. I want 2 PCs and I don't want to play those types of games anyway. And for me, it's probably not, even if I get one, I probably won't be playing a lot of games on it at all. And since I'm doing the streaming thing. Maybe a little bit. Who knows? Alright. Thanks for making me even more excited. And actually, I've made some changes in my thinking of the future. And thanks for hanging out. And yeah, have a good one. Nordon says, I think it would be great at playing the more lightweight games, right? Yeah, exactly. You don't play those big 80 gig games on the train anyways, right? If I need to go on the train and I want to play some game, yeah, that's not really the type of game you play. Maybe, it depends on the game. Actually, thinking Warframe would be a great game for this. Warframe takes a lot of space. But they did this whole thing recently. They called it the ensmallening. I think they did the sucklist thing and they removed a lot of shit. And they just made everything smaller as well. So I think they are probably been lower than 60 gigs now. Probably. Alright, but it's time to go. It is time to go to have lunch. Norton says I'd have to play with it and see. I have a feeling Warframe would be okay. It even runs on the Switch. Yeah. Oh yeah, Warframe would be great for that. Well, I would not enjoy playing Warframe. Well, no, I would play Warframe on this, but I would not generally play shooters on this thing. I like my mouse for playing shooters when I play shooters. But you don't have to play Warframe as a shooter. You can play it as a melee game, and then you can just run around and swing your sword. Norton says, I'll let you go. Nice, thanks. Oh, I'll let you go as well, I guess. Alright. Let's have a good one. You too. And see you next time. Cheers.